I address a very cordial greeting to all those who join today's topic of the Self-Knowledge course. Today we will talk about the world of relationships. A very important topic that will allow us to discover in what state is the relationship we have with our physical body, the relationship with other people, and with the world that surrounds us, and especially the relationship with our own inner being. And we will also see how we can improve these relationships. Since achieving a correct relationship in all aspects, both internal and external, is what will lead us to achieve true happiness. All human relationships have an important purpose, but due to our ignorance of their value and true function, they tend to deteriorate. Let's see each of these relationships. What is the function of each of them? Let's see what state they are in, what would be their optimal state, and let's see how we can fix them. We are also going to learn today a very interesting practice called the self's file. Let's see then that there are three main types of relationships that we all have. The first is the relationship with our physical body. The relationship we have with this planetary body that allows us to have a presence in this third dimension. The second is the relationship we have with the outside world. And here come the relationships we have with our partner, with family, friends, colleagues, and people in general, also, the relationship with everything related to our profession, with money, with politics, and with everything that exists in the environment, as well as our relationship with nature, and with everything that is part of this planet Earth in which we live. The third is man's relationship with himself. And this, even though it is the most important relationship, is the most forgotten. For most people, this type of relationship does not have the slightest importance, and this is because we do not know ourselves, we do not know our inner world, therefore, the connection with our divine part is blocked. We are going to analyze each of these relationships in detail. Let's see the relationship with the physical body. This is the relationship we have with our planetary body. We tend to believe that we have knowledge about our physical body, but in reality, not even the best scientists in the world know much about the body of flesh and blood. Given its tremendously complicated organization, it is certainly far beyond our comprehension. The function of our physical body is to generate and condense sexual energy. This energy is the creative part in us. Our physical body was created in sex, and it is through sex, through the wise use of our sexual energy, how we are going to create ourselves internally. That is, we are going to create the internal bodies that are going to allow us to have a presence in the different dimensions of nature. For this, it is essential that we learn to have a correct relationship with our physical body. Since the main function of the physical body is to generate and condense sexual energy, the misuse we make of this energy leads us to have a very bad relationship with it. Convinced that happiness is in pleasure, we give free rein to our desires. And in this search for satisfaction, we feed our body incorrectly, we consume substances that are toxic to the body, and the worst thing is that we constantly live wasting all the energy resources of our physical body, especially through fornication, which is the expulsion of our sexual energy through orgasm and ejaculation. Due to this, we wear out energetically, and this results in the weakening of our physical body. Since, as our different energies are used by our various psychological defects, they make a negative condensation of it, resulting in different diseases that, as a consequence or karma, we suffer. Our psychological defects manifest through our mind and our emotions, and from there, they manifest on a physical level. Our thoughts are related to atoms, and every time we have negative thoughts, we are contaminating our atoms. The constant accumulation of negative thoughts contaminates or makes the molecule sick, which are our emotions. And the accumulation of negative emotions, or contaminated molecules, in turn contaminates the cells of our body, generating multiple diseases. For example, the negative condensation of energy that our egos do out of anger causes damage to our liver, head, heart, and eyesight. Lust generates the different forms of cancer. Sadness, anxiety, and depression generate stomach problems such as gastritis, ulcers, etc., as well as heart problems. And so, We see how allowing our psychological defects to waste our energy has led us to a terrible relationship with our physical body, which we can see manifested in the different ailments and diseases that we suffer from. And the situation is that all these defects were created by fornication, so as long as we don't do a conscious work focused on using our sexual creative energy wisely, we will not be able to bring this relationship to its optimal state. And what would that optimal state be? Well, a healthy body, full of vitality, with which we make an adequate condensation of the energy that through the practice of superior sex, allows us to create our internal bodies. And how are we going to achieve this? How to fix the relationship with the physical body? We will achieve this through the practice of the 3 factors for the revolution of consciousness, especially with the spiritual birth. Practicing psychological death, we are going to eliminate all the psychological defects that live within us, which constantly lead us to wrong interior states, and which waste our energies foolishly in all kinds of negative reactions. Observing ourselves at all times, we will be able to discover all these psychological defects, which we must understand and eliminate, through a request to our particular Divine Mother, eliminate this defect from me. We can seek a cure for our ailments through medicines, hopefully these are as natural as possible. However, it is useless to seek to cure an ailment if we don't eliminate the defect that has generated it. Hippocrates, a wise physician from ancient Greece, said, before curing someone, ask him if he is willing to give up the things that made him sick. Therefore, it is necessary to renounce our psychological defects to release the energy that they have trapped, and that they have condensed in a negative way. Through astral projection we can investigate with our inner being what are the defects that have generated us this, or that disease, or physical condition, to work on them. Sacrifice for humanity is also necessary, since, being our illnesses of a karmic origin, that is, they are a consequence of the damage that we have generated to others and to ourselves due to our psychological defects. We must generate Dharma, through conscious help to others, to stop paying for our karmas with pain, and start paying for them with acts of love. Through the practices that we learned in the conference Laws of Karma and Dharma, we can use Dharma to pay for these karmas, that are often paid as various types of ailments and diseases. But, as I was telling you, the factor that is going to help us in a special way to improve our relationship with the physical body is the spiritual birth. Since our sexual energy is very powerful, it is a regenerative and creative energy, it is the vital force itself. And when we begin to use it wisely, practicing superior sex, and definitively abandoning fornication, we begin to condense it positively in our spine, with which we will begin the process of regeneration of our physical body and regeneration of our vital body. Let's talk now about the second type of relationship. The relationship with the outside world. This is the relationship with our peers, family, partner, friends, colleagues, and humanity in general. Also, the relationship with the world in which we find ourselves, our work relationships, money, business, etc. And the relationship with our planet. The relationship with the outside world and all those who inhabit it has a very important function, because it is through our external relationships that we can develop conscious love through selfless service. It is very common that the current state of our relations with the outside world is terrible. Regarding the second type of relationship, we are always victims of circumstances. It is unfortunate that we have not yet learned to consciously originate circumstances. Many people are unable to adapt to anything or anyone, or to be truly successful in life. Commonly we are poorly related to the outside world, and as a result, we have all kinds of conflicts, enmities, bad relationships with our partners, children, loneliness, economic and social problems, etc. It is because of the incorrect relationship with the outside world that we live in situations of slavery, poverty, and that in our world there is so much pollution and environmental imbalance. But we need to observe that the cause of our constant conflicts, and of the general state of society and of the world, lies in our psychological defects, especially in our egoism, in our inability to love and serve others selflessly. The exterior is a reflection of the interior. Then, if we want to enjoy these relationships in their optimal state, which is a state of harmony, in which we experience freedom and prosperity, we have to start an inner work that leads us to get rid of the egoism that prevents us from developing love for all the brothers of humanity, and for the planet in which we live. As we work on ourselves, practicing the 3 factors for the revolution of consciousness, we are going to achieve an inner transformation that will allow us to improve our relationships with the outside world. We can see that we never or very rarely do anything really for the good of others. We usually do things for direct or indirect gain, or to get some recognition, or to generate commitment from others. Therefore, it is especially the factor of sacrifice for humanity, which will allow us to develop the ability to do selflessly for the benefit of others, which is love, since love is shown in our actions. We are going to need to start sacrificing our psychological defects to fix the bad relationship we have with others and with the planet itself. But, above all, we will need to sacrifice our time to help others. All help that we do to others selflessly counts. But the greatest help we can do to others is to share with them the knowledge that is helping us so much to transform our lives. So we develop love when we sacrifice our time to teach others to awaken their consciences. Now let's see what the relationship with oneself is, and in what state that relationship is. The relationship with oneself is the relationship with our inner being, with our consciousness, with that part in us that is divine and eternal. Only by connecting with our real divine being can we achieve self-realization, and we will reach full, true, and complete happiness, since that is the objective of our being. This relationship is the most important and yet the most neglected. Being badly related with ourselves is what makes us suffer a lot due to lack of interior illumination. When we forget our real inner being, we get fascinated and lost in the trivialities of this world, and we forget the purpose of our existence. We dedicate ourselves to seeking to satisfy our desires, but it turns out that this mistaken search for pleasure always ends in more suffering and confusion. Those who suffer from a lack of interior illumination must connect their minds with the higher centers of their being. There are countless depressed aspirants who, due to a lack of psychic powers and intimate illumination, have renounced the esoteric work on themselves. Few are those who know how to take advantage of adversity. When this relationship is in its optimal state, we manage to constantly keep ourselves in self-remembering. We also see results in our inner work, in meditation, in concentration, in spiritual birth, in the negotiation of our karmas, in astral projection, etc. And we manage to have constant communication with our inner being. To fix the relationship with our own being, it is necessary that we focus on the work of the 3 factors of the revolution of consciousness, since dying psychologically, being born spiritually, and sacrificing oneself for humanity is doing the work of our inner being. And of these, the crucial factor for achieving and maintaining a good relationship with oneself is psychological death. In times of severe temptation, despondency, and desolation, one must appeal to the inner self-remembering. When one gives oneself the shock of self-remembering, there really is a miraculous change in the whole work of the body, so that the cells receive a different nourishment. It is necessary to start a serious work in the elimination of our psychological defects to go freeing and developing the different parts of our being. In addition to working with special attention on the defects of pride, self-sufficiency, and ill will, to develop obedience towards the inner being. Since it is our being who will guide us in all this path of self-knowledge. Unquestionably, we need to establish correct relationships, not only with our planetary body and with the outside world, but also with each of the parts of our own being. Then, it is very important that we stop for a moment to reflect on what state these relationships are in, and question ourselves, each one in an intimate and personal way. How is my relationship with my physical body? How is my relationship with others? How is my relationship with the planet? How is my relationship with my inner being? Now I am going to explain you a practice in which we can use the topic that we have studied today to achieve a deep understanding of the need to eliminate any psychological defect that we have and that is causing us a bad relationship. This practice is called the self's file. Since it will consist of making a file on any of our psychological defects, looking at how it has caused a bad relationship with our physical body, with others, and with ourselves. This will help us understand the real and urgent need to eliminate this defect in our psychology, and it will give us the strength and understanding to decide to renounce this negative way of being once and for all. We can make this file to any psychological defect, for example, the alcoholic defect, or anger, envy, jealousy, pornography, masturbation, fornication, laziness, or any defect that we need understanding to decide to eliminate. And we will reflect deeply, asking ourselves, what damage has this defect generated to my physical body? How has this defect damaged my relationship with other people? Has it led me to loneliness, poverty, etc.? How has it damaged my relationship with myself? How has it distanced me from my own being? It would be highly recommended to write down these answers, because there, we will find many details of this defect, which will help us to continue deepening our understanding in meditation. A defect for which we have already made a good file, and of which we are able to see all the ways in which it has harmed us, is a defect of which we will already have a great understanding to condemn it to death, and decide to eliminate all its manifestations, to free us definitively. I hope this practice will be very helpful to you. And this has been the topic of today. As always, I invite you for the next topic that we will study, in which we will learn how to dissolve any psychological self through the technique of the details, so that we can achieve the scientific chastity. A very important topic. Do not miss it. Until next time.